once we hit that level 4, we see both of them actually roaming in for kills. So now that they're facing off against Onic PH, one of the favorites of the Philippines here, of course, going to be playing out this final series of theirs. So, you know, earlier today, we saw Deus Vult here, who dominates that early game. And they only failed to actually hold on towards that lead and slowly having teams after teams trample upon them in that sort of sense. And it was really tough to watch for some of the Russian fans right there. And to me, I just really love all these teams. And I don't really know. Sometimes when you pit them up with each other, it's really down to that 50-50. And whoever gets the slightest of lead could actually get themselves ahead towards that sort of mid-game. And now, we're of course seeing Kufra. We've seen Kufra actually sliding off of that ban for a couple of games for today, and finally for the side of Divu, they are taking it out.
Yeah, and Kufra has just been a great utility tool overall, making sure that, you know, a lot of heroes don't get to play the game as much as they want to here. And Onic already back into the game. They're, you know, they know they're not going to be able to make it into playoffs, but they still have a positive attitude coming into this. Russia as well, they're going to be looking to, you know, at least play seriously to show that good showing at the very end of the day. I'm expecting the last ban to be, you know, either, you know, probably an Esmeralda or probably a linchpin tank.
Yeah, I really think that in terms of tank, there's still that sort of high loss being contested every now and then, especially when you equip it with the rejuvenate as well, making it pretty hard to kill. And Boxia getting really popular in this Group D matchup.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that his Tortoise Poissons was able to like kind of like deny a lot of that healing is super helpful. Grok going to be the first pick for the side of Onic Esports. I'm expecting Dios to actually pick up the Masha. If not, why else would they ban out the Thamos unless they want to set up for something else? But Export has been left on the table here. They're going to be locking it in for themselves. I think even Deus Vult was like, oh, maybe we should just, you know, let go of the Export. I don't expect them to not take it. And all right, fine, take the Grok. I'll take this S tier pick for myself.
Yeah, and I think that Onic PH could even reply with a Masha just to, you know, hold that sort of lane as well, in that sort of sense. And for QP here, of course, tough decisions to be made as they will go in with the Hylos. So that's definitely one good horse to be bringing out of the stable. And Onic, I do believe they should either get that sort of pick that we just mentioned, Masha, and Boxia will be definitely a great substitute in that sort of sense as well, depending on whether or not if they favor it more than that side. But of course, I do think that it has been brought up from RRQ that it's a great counter towards the high loss. So that's definitely one pick that they should definitely consider. Yeah, and Onic, they lock in the Masha. They still have about 12 more seconds until they decide on their final pick of the day. What's it going to be? Ooh, they're really thinking hard about this, but I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Looks like it's going to be the Claw. They kind of want to hold up for the counter pick later on, kind of see what else Deus Vult has to offer. And I think that's... I'm okay with that, but Natalia, it kind of gives a lot more options for Deus Vult to kind of play around. Looks like they are going to force out the Natalia. I personally feel like there's no reason to force it out just yet, because this gives Onic Esports an opportunity to look for counter picks, or at least build a composition around the Natalia, being like, hey, here are things that, you know, Natalia can't really deal with overall, or just don't matter. Well, I do believe that there were a couple of games that we saw a lot of all these teams actually respecting the Natalia and banning it away, so they are avoiding that sort of conflict and immediately locking it in on towards that pick, where they could have actually matched up with the marksman pick as well. Yes. So perhaps they could even negate options like the carry or even the Granger to come into play. So that's definitely something that I missed out. The Chang'e is now being wiped away. All right, wiping away the Chang'e here. That kind of leaves up a couple of tanks still on the table. Deus Vult could still look to ban out the Lolita if they wanted to, but there's still a number of options they have to deal with. I mean, first of all, Boxia should be banned out here just to kind of deny them the opportunity, and then look to lock in probably their mage at this point and hold up their last tank. Great choice there, taking out the Esmeralda, and now from the side of Deus Vult, of course, having to actually make this sort of move. You mentioned that Lolita being a pretty well pick, and I do think that that's definitely a great choice, but they would actually secure the Lunox first. So Onyx bringing out Faramis. I doubt this from his pick though. Not to say that it's not a great hero per se, but I don't think anyone wants to expect your teammates to die in those team fights.
I mean, there's one way of doing it, but I think Onic, you know, they can take their time with this. They have a number of options to actually go through, hovering over the Lilia as well as the Odette. Pretty interesting because it kind of forces Natalia to choose like, oh boy, if I go up on somebody here and Odette just pops that ultimate, like I can't really play the game. If I go for the other one, they have black shoes, but instead they're going to be locking in the Raphaelia, followed up by the Kagura? Lilia? Come on, they got to make a choice here.
It should be Lilia in that sort of sense. So I think that at least that gives them a little bit of safety net. Same goes to the Cloud with a little bit more mobility in that sort of sense as well. So Raphael is going to be providing a lot of sustainability to this entire kit. Well, you know, Masha is already so hard to kill. Imagine you just keep killing the Masha in the team fight, which makes it even worse. So even if you go for that split push, it's possible as well for the side of Onic PH. Now, for the side of Deus Vult, one final pick here. We mentioned about another tank going in, so maybe they might just get that Lolita in that sense.
I mean, it's just even more reason, but they're going to be locking in the Selena here. This is going to be a very bloody game indeed. Deus Vult wants to play for a lot of kills. They're going to hit that level 2, roam around the map, and maybe look for potential picks, hopefully punishing the Masha, because we know that Lilia and Grok level 1 are basically unstoppable for the most part.
Yeah, and double mage setup coming in for the side of Deus Vult is definitely really interesting to watch, and 2 assassins in that sort of sense as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to see whether or not can Lil Happy land those clutch abyssal arrows. And well, back in the days, we see Selena being a heavy favorite for most of these teams a couple of seasons ago. Now, I'm really glad that Deus Vult is bringing it back.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how they're going to play this out, because this game, both sides, I'm expecting a lot of bloodshed. I think that's hands down what you should be expecting this game as well if you're the viewer. Moving towards the mid game is kind of interesting because, again, it revolves around taking these 50-50s where it's a chance where you could lose out the trade even in just a 4v4, 3v3, even a 5v5. You're not entirely sure unless you have a very clear advantage, and I think somebody has to take that risk and hopefully execute upon it to maybe get a small lead.
Speaking of taking risks, I think that Deus Vult is definitely no strangers of doing that, and we see them always going in for those really aggressive invades, which sometimes when they make that slightest of mistake, that will punish them back. So it's really down to execution on how Onic PH do juggle that sort of aggression. And now heading into the series here, we're looking into its game 1, Onic PH versus Deus Vult esports team.
Now that you mention it, you do bring up a very good point about how both compositions are pretty mechanical, because again, it's not easy to land the abilities coming in from Lilia. You kind of usually have, like, you know, a Kaja or a Cho, something with some hard lockdown, so you don't really have to aim it too much, because there is a good possibility you could miss it. Ooh, Sunset nearly losing his Viraga armor, and it's only been level 1. They're not going to go with traditional lanes here. Let's see how they play this out.
Well, for starters, Deus Vult is going to be making sure that they secure those buffs in hand. So that's going to be Natalia diving all the way back. Zika is getting caught out. 2 versus 1, and Greed, well, what can I say? Greed is definitely good as the Lar gets first blood for Onic PH.
I mean, she did get to steal the buff, but instead dies in response, and now QP is just stuck by himself in lane. Greedy play coming in from Natalia, and was very close to actually profiting off of it. However, she's just too low, and again, level 1, you don't mess. You just don't mess with the Grok as well as the Lilia. You will get chunked out.
Well, I'm not too sure whether if the buff is anything worth that sort of depth, that sort of sense, but looking into this early game, that's going to be Abyssal Arrow landing, and oh, that almost was a steal, but Dilar is going to run off and eventually taken off by Sawa.
And what did I tell you? Bloodbath already, both sides just going back and forth, making sure they know who's boss.
Oh, yes. And look at Sunset, of course. 2v1 feeling way better than the top side, where, you know,
they're struggling there.
I just don't feel like some of all these sort of tension in the early game is well worth it. But speaking of that, Zika once again on into Natalia is just having not so much of that sort of exit point, and now that's a free kill.
She's stuck. She thought she could go through the top side. It looked like there was a little bit of a gap there, but again, that Guardian's Barrier can be deceiving.
Well, Guardian's Barrier is definitely that one spell that usually will be pulled out in that jungle to actually get so much of that passage being covered up. And now, from the side of Deus Vult, they're up to something here to actually catch out Green.
Yeah, Law and Order being popped already by Lil Happy, but again, Power Nature doesn't allow him to get stunned. He walks through, sees all 3 members, and the rest of the team back off, trying to contest for mid-priority here. Lil Happy taking quite a bit of damage. Ooh, he's getting chunked out. Whoa. He's forced to pop the Revitalize.
Oh, there we go. Kobe immediately forces out all these skills, and wow, Lilia did not expect the damage output. And now 2-2 each, still pretty much drawn out. But Zika on a 1v1 against Dilar. I don't really think that's going to be great here. Greed is already dropping low, and here goes. First turtle being attempted by Deus Vult.
Yeah, Wise wasn't expecting to get stunned for so long from Lil Happy. That Law and Order was important, but the backline is in trouble now as Zika is trying to look for a catch onto Greed. He could try and turn this, but he can't. Actually, he has been disarmed. He is just hiding in that smoke screen, trying to stay immune. He dashes right on out of there, and the rest of Deus Vult pick up the kill onto Masha.
Deus Vult's steps were a little bit more clear-cut and concise, and I'm not too sure. Onic PH, they were already low, and they still want to actually give it a go. And now, of course, advantage given over the side of Deus Vult. Of course, items are slowly stacking up here. Looking at the Lunox, possibly going for concentrated energy in a little bit more. Listening to Wet, not really hitting all too much. 3 members down over bottom side for Onic PH here, securing the River Crab.
Yeah, they're going to peel back here, take away the River Crab, build their economy ever so slowly. But again, Deus Vult, even though they have 1 kill ahead of Onic PH, they still need to farm. They're not like super far ahead. They're just only slightly. But it's 3 minutes into the game. That 1K isn't going to matter too much. The levels are about even. Oh, getting chucked out here. The crit is a little too much. He pops the smoke screen later, so he protects himself from the disarm. Nicely played.
Whoa, great backup coming in from Dilar as well. If he was there, of course, like the rest of the members that were there a little bit earlier, then it might just be a turnaround of events where Zika could have just got caught out. But here comes Greed coming from the back as well, going in with the wall charge, and there it goes. 4 members on the top side here to put him down.
Yeah, but I don't think they have enough time because the minion wave is being pushed all the way down. I think they can put some damage into that tier 2 for the rest of Deus Vult. They break that tier 1 and now are rotating towards the mid side. The gold differentials from both of them slowly increase.
You can see how focused they are into taking the bottom side, and there it goes. Oh, that was really, really dirty as we see LY Canoe just running that one off. Now, it's going to be Greed just pushing some of all these members back, and they do secure the tower over the bottom side for Deus Vult.
Yeah, they're just holding their ground, looking for someone to maybe get a pick with the Abyssal Arrows here. Zika just doing his best, and he's doing a pretty good job keeping Dilar in check. Now, Turtle is under contention here. The rest of the team holding their ground. Firaga armor is up for Sunset. He could look to turn this around with the last Insanity, but he's going to help secure that Turtle with no issues whatsoever.
They've already lost a lot of all that pressure towards the river, so there's no way that Onic knows how to actually get anywhere nearby, and it's really not worth it to even try to actually secure that Turtle in that sort of sense. And this having cleared out, Lil Happy dropping really low, but they do have the Righteous Pathway alongside with the Rejuvenate to keep himself alive, but there's no point in staying there. Oh, 1 more hit will be able to do the trick, but Onic PH will let him lose.
You mean Revitalize, but yeah, he does make it out with 1 HP at the very end of it. A lot of damage coming through, even a Holy Baptism by Oh My Venus, but he's trying to his best. Oh, Sunset, he blows right in front of him. And he's trying to pull it through. Claude's in trouble. A little bit of health just left. Battle Mirror Image, he turns it around. The Revitalize has been dropped in the heal, but the Darkening coming out from QP is going to be too much as he takes 1 out. The Chaos Assault is too deadly. But again, Claude, he still is able to hold on. Picks up a kill onto Lunox and Sunset. Bails out of there. He wants no part. Zeka, he has to pull back. 1 more hit. Ooh! Shadow Shockwave already locks him down. Wise is just landing these abilities one after the other.
Wow, look at Wise though, still getting chunked out by Sawo. Sawo's trying to actually assassinate her, but it's too much of a deal here with Greed being up in the front lines. I just love this back and forth from both ends here. And right down below, we're looking at Onic PH. They were really in that great position, 3 versus 2, but a little bit of a misstep here causing one of their lives to fall. Now, Vivu just going to be holding on to the millet for the time being. And, well, that's just going to be a little bit of that back and forth going on, and the next hurdle's coming up online.
Yeah, and Deus Vult just losing a little bit of their lead now. Onic PH is slowly coming back into this game. Again, 1K goal lead, not too much. Battle Mirror Image coming in for the Claude. He doesn't want to get caught out.
Ooh, Abyssal Arrow, of course, flying through, but that's one Grok that is pretty well tanky, already level 8, and Venus just soaking a little bit of that stun. A little bit of that sort of defense going on for Masha over the top side as well. Well, Sunset's just going to be slowly farming up, and there goes Turtle number 3 in the hands of Onic PH.
Tail, as all this time, Turtle is still the contested point for both of these teams, but Deus Vult is forced to walk backwards. Sunset going to try and turn this around. Last Insanity, he's going to break his armor to kind of make some space. The rest of the team is there to support him. Law and Order lands onto the Grok. Grok full gauge coming in from that Firaga damage, but now Lil Happy, he's holding his ground. He pops down the Glorious Pathway. He wants to catch somebody off. Greed is walking away through the Tri-Brush. He's going to be safe. Dodges the Abyssal Arrow, but the backline is in trouble. Claude, he's in trouble. They dropped the Revitalize. The rest of the team is still pulling on through. They are not winning this. QP goes down next. A double kill for the Claude.
Great comeback coming in from the side of Onic PH as we're looking at them chasing all the way and breaking down the first herd off the bottom side. And now there's also a great wave hitting towards the top, but Zika is trying to deal with this situation as well. But wow, look, like we saw Wise coming in a little bit late, but just on time to actually burst down Koopy in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, great plays coming in from the Claude. He's just kind of dancing around them, kind of baiting out stuff from the enemy team. And now Deus Vult, they're kind of just biting on these, biting on the bait every single time.
Yeah, and like if they just kept getting baited here, this will be really costly. And Sunset now purchasing the Immortality is just going to give him a little bit more breathing room for him to go in for better dives. And speaking of the dive here, he's being all the way up in the front lines here, knowing that he has his barrier armor. There shouldn't be any sort of hassle to actually get a couple of all these sort of charges. And here comes a lot more stacks coming in the way. Last Insanity being popped, and now he's getting stuck by the barrier. And Zika's just going to engage, looking for LY Canoe. And now it's going to be a full-on bullfight with Rafael getting one killing spree for the Claude as well. Could be too much opposition, but takes down the Masha. And Grid's just going to give chase for a little bit more. 3 members versus 1. Koopy could not possibly turn this one around, but look at how tanky and how much sustain that's in this Lunox.
Yeah, and she's holding his ground. Oh, Sunset trying to turn around. Last Insanity popped already. Is he going to survive?
What?
No way. No way. Wise says, no. You're going down, my friend.
Oh my, Wise with the loads of damage. But this is what I really love about Lilia. Like, sometimes you just do not know how much she can deal. And the later the game goes, the stronger she gets.
Yep. Oh boy. This is becoming a more and more difficult game for Deus Vult now, giving up a 5K gold deficit against Onic. And we can see that their team composition kind of thrives off of this lead. Like, Delar, he's got so much damage. He's already got the Demon Hunter Sword, very close to getting hit Golden Staff, and I think he might already have it by now.
Yeah, he should be able to actually have it, and that goes Lord number 1 in the hands of Onic PH as well. And none of these members from the side of Deus Vult could even find the likes of the Claude, and he's already 4-0 and up, but with Sunset now already trying to start something up just to clear off the wave, and Greed is just trying to block the exit points for the time being.
Damage! Whoa. My God! They pulled back. I mean, Weiss nearly got caught out there with the black shoes. Now Greed is taking a little bit too much here. He gets stunned by the Abyssal Arrow, but he's going to be A-OK. Zika can't find an angle to get into that backline. Weiss, he's without the black shoes. He is vulnerable, but the rest of his team is protecting him.
Well, I guess that's some great protection. But looking at Jadwal here, getting chunked out. Here goes the Blazing Duet, immediately flickering in towards the battle. And instead, this will be the first step for the Claude. A little bit of a late response coming in from the rest of Onic PH as we see a big blow towards QP as he will fall. That's going to be a 1-for-1 for now, but they open up the mid lane tower with a great push. And of course, with Lord marching in from the top side, which means Wall Charge will be able to connect. And now, members of Deus Vult in pieces. And this might just be game for Onic PH if they can escort the Lord into the base.
Yeah, and Lord still isn't. Oh, finally. It gets broken by the Lord, and the Lord is still probably going to keep walking on. The rest of the team should have taken it out by now, but they've lost so much at this point. Sawa is just going to keep on running as far as he can, and Onic Greed, he's not letting him go.
Well, that's definitely a really tricky situation. But look at Wise, freely roaming around, and there, finally, we get that kill over onto one of these members here. But oh, there we go. Oh, that was nasty.
Trade kill. Both sides were like, no, I'm gonna bring you down with me.
Look at them. They're just fighting all the way to the end. Sunset's going to be the next one on the chopping block with the wall charge being landed. There goes the mega kill for the Rock, and Greed still has the immortality so he can play as he please.
Yeah, and Claude already responding. He's making his way using the battle mirror image to kind of shorten the time he takes to get to the base here. But Deus Vult, 1 more second until Sinith comes back out. Glorious Pathway already popped out. They're just holding their ground. 4v3. Let's see how this is around. Unstoppable. Zika is gone down, and the Crystal is trying to be broken in as they beef up their KDA.
Now we're looking at Onic PH 1 point up. This is the signature plays that we're looking at from the Philippines. And of course, Onic definitely struck their stuff against Deus Vult, which looked pretty messy in a lot of these fights because they were just going blow for blow. It just reminds me of all these sort of players as if they were in some sort of boxing ring, just trading knuckles for knuckles.
Yeah, it was a bit of a slugfest towards the end there, especially when it's just like all bets are off. We need to get him out of our base. Let's take him down with us.
Oh yeah, and now of course a little bit of that sort of re-strategizing for Deus Vult, but then again, let's have a look in towards post-match statistics here. And of course, the victors here will be Onic PH, and Great is having that perfect 10 KDA for that Grok.
So good. So good. And Wise, I think he played a really good Lilia here. He hasn't been missing his abilities too often, and when he chunks somebody out, it's really hard to recover from it. They're forced to peel back, and I think, you know, if you can land Lilia's ability, you know, trade the Shadow Balls all the way, chain it up all together to get some big damage, I think, yeah, she is viable, but she still needs setup.
Yeah, and I really want to talk about another point here, which we saw Zika prioritizing on that Natalia, and this Natalia here went 0-7, rendered ineffective at all because there's always Rafaela killing all of them. Now, let's have a look into it. Some of all these replays brought to you by U-Mobile, of course. Now, there's a little bit of that tension over the top side for the longest of time, and they still focus their eyes onto its Zika, knowing that it's easy to actually bully off the Natalia early.
Yeah, and I think Natalia was playing the matchup against the Masha really well, because he would specifically hold up the smoke screen until, you know, the disarm lands, drops the smoke screen. It's like, what you gonna do? And yep, you can't really do much. Walk back, pick it up, and then continue the fight. And he knew the matchup really well, so you have to give him props for that. The only problem is that he couldn't get into the backline at this point because the Holy Baptism was always such an annoying spell. Oh, drop down the smoke screen. I can just throw the Holy Baptism in kind of blindly, and still the radius is big enough to stun you up, which allows my team to kind of walk away. So he just couldn't find the angle to get in onto Onic here.
Yeah, I feel really bad for him in that sort of sense, but Onic definitely played a really good team fighting style, especially for Greed always being in the front line, and Rafaela always guarding all these carries at the back as well. So that's definitely a few layers that they have to peel through to actually drop some of these lines. But we saw they didn't really care. They just really want to run in for those kills. Like, I just want to improve my KDA.
They want to just literally drop hot fire, just like slam it down right there. But yeah, they are trying to beef up their KDA, because who doesn't want to at this point in time? But I think both teams are playing semi-well. I don't think they're playing, you know, at 120%. I do think they kind of toned down, kind of relaxed. They're still having a lot of fun with it.
Well, definitely great to see them actually being a little bit more relaxed in this sort of approach where, you know, too much tension, you might just crack under pressure. And now heading towards possibly the final game of the series if Onic PH could be able to clinch yet another victory. And Deus Vult here hoping to actually bring it to game 3.
Yeah, and they immediately ban out the Masha. The Masha has been just the bane of their existence for the longest time, even in the previous matches, especially against EVOS, where it's just like, we have to deal with you every single time, and every match they have to deal with it, so might as well just ban it out now that you're on blue side. Happy days.
Well, definitely happy days. They don't really need to worry about focusing so much resources on one Masha. There's a whole lot of crowd control. Well, I'm thinking that with this blue side pick here, they definitely could get the Grok in hand.
Yeah. I mean, they're thinking about it. Like, do they want to ban out the Grok for the side of Onic? I think that it's about the Exborg and the Harith. Yeah, both of them have been really just dominating the game for the most part. If you leave them be, as we saw 10 Second Gaming, like, with a single